Hello and welcome back to Neuropa City Zoo. So today, you know what? I think we are doing one of the builds in this zoo that I have found the most fun to do so far. I really enjoyed building this, and you probably got from the title or screenshots, whatever, but we are only halfway done this build by the end of today's video. This is going to be a two-parter because this is a very big one. But we are building our giant indoor cold biome habitat. And I really liked the added little bit of challenge that came with building an entirely indoor multiple habitat building. I thought it was kind of cool, and I actually went into this with it a lot less planned out than I usually plan out my builds, especially habitats and stuff. I will usually know going into it exactly what I want it to look like, and this one I just knew I wanted 3 habitats in here. Other than that, I didn't really come with any requirements, so it was kind of neat. I basically built this around the pathways, so it worked out really well. Everything is built to the same grid, and the best way to do that in this case was to build everything off of the grid of the gondola station. So start with the walls. The walls are on the grid of the gondola, and then you can attach the paths to the grid of the walls. I don't think you can attach the paths to the grid of the gondola. Or maybe you could, but it's all the same anyway. But this is just it's a 2-story building. So the top story there is where you can get onto the gondola, and there's going to be a little bit of viewing on that top path there as well. But most of it is on the ground level. So 2 of the habitats you can only see from the ground level. The middle habitat you'll be able to see also from that upper section right there. And you can see here I'm kind of going to make this habitat a raised with a raised ground as well, so it's kind of on the same viewing level as that top floor. This middle habitat is going to be our king penguin habitat. So it's it's a decent size. All of these habitats are not the biggest habitats that we've done in this zoo, but I think as long as we keep the populations at a decent amount, fairly low, it will be reasonable enough to keep them in here. It is I'm kind of imagining it we just have these very cold climate animals. We're not in a very cold climate, but you still want to have them in the zoo. Maybe you're doing research or rehabilitation or whatever it might be. They're not necessarily from this area, but we still want to have them in the zoo. So we just keep a few of them. We keep them in nice small packs so that they don't need so much room, because cooling giant indoor buildings does not sound like a practical thing. So you can see here what I ended up doing with the king penguin habitat was there's the land area that the keepers can walk up, and the penguins can walk up and down there as well, and all the rest of it is all water, and it's all underwater viewing if you go down to the ground level of this building. So I think there's going to be a lot of really good points where you can view the penguins from in here. Now off to the side here. So this is the second habitat area that we're going to build, and this one is the Arctic wolf habitat. So it's kind of long and narrow, and it is also decently sized. I would say this is similar to the size of our big cat habitats. And, same sort of thing. As long as we just kind of keep 1 male, 1 female Arctic wolf, and then, their pups as they grow up, it shouldn't really be a problem to have them all in here. The space requirements seem totally fine, so. And it looks big enough too. The wolves are still fairly small. But I really like how this building ended up. So I'm trying to do a couple of different tiers for later on when we do the roofs and stuff, so it looks less like just a single box. And there's also the glass viewing into this Arctic wolf habitat as well. This one only has the ground level viewing, but I think in the end, once we actually get to doing the habitat, I do end up doing a couple of floors, the second, upper floor for their habitat as well. There's just not specific guest viewing for it. But a lot of this habitat was The building actually turned out to be pretty easy. I didn't really have anything particularly challenging about this. For a lot of the other builds that I did in this zoo, like the ones that are floating on top of the water and that kind of thing, there's often like very challenging little things where like you have to get the paths just perfect, because like if you ever, or you have to get the water perfect right off the bat, because if you ever want to remove it, you're gonna have to redo all of your paths and all of that kind of thing. But this was super easy. Everything's on like the grid, perfect. The only thing that was maybe a little bit weird is the grid wasn't ground level, so I couldn't put these buildings I think are raised a little bit, or yeah, I think they're raised a tiny bit above the ground, but I mean, you know, so be it. That's the least of my worries when it comes to stuff like that. But similar to how we kind of jutted out the Arctic wolf habitat over here is another kind of jut out from the central building, and this is the reindeer habitat. So reindeer are another one that I have not actually played with in Planet Zoo, and I think something that I would really like to do, my kind of ultimate vision, because I'm a big seasons like person, I don't know why, but what I would really love to do is this summer, you know, I think I've mentioned it before, but the next zoo that's coming up, I want to do a hot weather zoo or a hot climate zoo, like a desert or a you know, we're leaning towards desert. We're leaning towards desert environment. A really awesome suggestion for like a desert oasis kind of thing in the comments, which I'm totally stealing. And also a really great suggestion to do some more like indoor and like underground builds for like cooler areas, and I think that could be really fun as well. I'm not sure exactly how I want to incorporate all of that together yet, but that's kind of the idea, but I'm kind of digressing from the point here. The point is, similar to that idea, I'm thinking by the time winter comes back around, because this zoo took me, how long have we been doing this for? Like 6 months maybe? So maybe come like the new year, or maybe if I can get it finished by winter, I want to do a cold weather zoo. I've never built a cold weather zoo, not like on my own time, not in the entire time that I've had Planet Zoo and like haven't been making videos. Like I've never made like an Arctic zoo, and I think that would be so fun. So I really want to do that. And yeah, just building this habitat was giving me so much like inspiration to what I could do for something like an Arctic zoo, which I think would be really cool in the future. But this is just kind of a little glimpse into that, and I thought the reindeer were super fun. But back to what we're actually doing in the video here. This little back area ends up being a staff area, and I wasn't really sure. I was kind of like, ooh, am I actually gonna be able to fit everything in here? I could have, I guess, expanded the building if I needed to, but I managed to fit everything that we needed. We have, that's a keeper hut, quarantine, a vet surgery. I think I get 2 staff rooms back here. And yeah, it doesn't end up, obviously it doesn't end up being finished. It still needs to be, you know, decorated and filled in and all of that, but all of our stuff is back there. They can access all 3 habitats. Obviously, to get to that back area, we end up having to build the path around the building back to the main area. But yeah, it worked out really well. Everything's contained, and I'm pretty sure all the negative effect is fine too. I don't think they're close enough to any of the guest paths to bother the guests. So yeah, that's, I like it when things kind of, I don't have to like afterthought throw in staff buildings where I'm like, oh, okay, well this doesn't really fit here, but sure, we'll put it there anyway. Here it just kind of, it all fits in very well. But yeah, so in this video I'm going to be detailing all of our animal habitats. We do not finish the details on the actual building, so interior and exterior are both very plain by the end of this video. We'll take a closer look at it in the real-time part, but that'll have to be part 2, but this part we did finish the animal habitats. So first of all, we're starting with the Arctic wolf habitat, obviously. Got the first few in there, and I thought it would be cute to have this little like entry area be like their little cave shelter. I didn't really do too much for shelter for these guys, just because technically I think this entire habitat's going to be sheltered because there's going to be a roof on it. So we'll see if it like, if it feels like they don't have enough like actual sheltered space, then, you know, maybe we'll build them another actual shelter. But so far it's just that little cave, and there is the little viewing window into it as well. From where the guests are viewing, they can see into the little cave and all of that, so that's super fun. But yeah, I think after putting the roof on this one as well, we might have to go back and do a little bit more editing with the rocks and stuff. I'm not totally sure if I love how this one turned out. I think it ended up looking okay in the end, after, you know, some of the plants and stuff were put in. And I think once the snow also starts to stick around, like it's weird because when I built it, I obviously put the coolers in to like keep the snow around, but I need to play it for a little while to actually have it cool down and have the snow stay. So it kind of looks funny. It looks very like dry and like dry in the like in a grassy way, you know, like it's very strange. But I think it'll look really good once there's snow and all of that in here as well. So basically I just wanted them to have this kind of double level habitat going on. They can't get underneath this. I don't think there's enough space underneath it anyway. I just wanted it to be a little bit more visually interesting than just a flat habitat for the wolves. And we might have to go back in and edit it if they can't climb this. I never actually did check that, to be honest, whether or not the pathfinding works and they can actually climb up there. But we can fix it either way. But yeah, just lots of rocks. I think we're gonna put in a bit of plants here too soon, but they're very picky about how much rock and like grass and stuff they want. Like they want no, like hardly any grass at all, so it's hard to see where all the grass was. It took a little while to like get that perfect, but yeah, I love these purple flowers. I can't remember what they're called, the alpine? I think they're like alpine flowers of some sort. So pretty. I put them in all of our habitats, I think, except for the penguin habitat. I put them in this one and the reindeer habitat because I think they just look so nice. And same with this caribou moss. I think it looks really nice on the rocks. It just kind of like blends in there really well, and I guess that's the whole point because it's moss. It's supposed to like, you know, stick to rocks and stuff, but I really like it. I really like how it looks, and I think it adds a lot to this habitat. You can see I kind of cycle through all of the trees in here too and try to see if any of them are short enough to fit in here. After putting the roof on, I think they might be. At this point, I hadn't put on the roof yet, and I do that off camera at the very end. But so we might go back through, might give them a tree or two, because I think they will fit once that roof is on. It's pretty tall. But yeah, I think it's just basically need to paint in some snow, make sure that they have all their enrichment items, that kind of thing. Yeah, you can see here. So essentially you can kind of see where I paint the snow into the habitats. And, oh, that reminds me. Something I want to do too once we're back on to real time is add in some snow machines. I want to make the snow fall from the ceiling and see what that looks like. I'm really excited for that. I just didn't do that in the time lapse because I didn't want to have to press play while I was building and the animals would get all upset about it. But I digress. We are on to the reindeer habitat now. So I wanted to build them just this cute little I guess it kind of looks like a barn, or like a stables, I suppose, like in the Arctic theme. Just kind of in the background of this habitat to take up a bit of space and be a little bit more visually interesting for the guests, as well as give the reindeer a more private place to hang out. But I also haven't really played much with the Arctic pieces, because I've never really built an Arctic zoo or like a Christmas themed zoo. So I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't really spend that much time trying to detail this building, if I'm being totally honest with you. Probably could have done a better job of it. But I think I'm going to add more lights in here and stuff later anyway, into the entire building. So I might string some cute little fairy lights around the outside of this building and stuff once we get there as well. So yeah, the idea behind this reindeer habitat is basically just, this little, like, it's almost as if it's it's like it's a little stable, like a little farmhouse or something, just like, and then just like the front yard. That's kind of, honestly, that's all I was really going with here. I put some lights in there because I know it'll look cool in here at nighttime anyway. But yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but I actually really like how this one looks. It kind of like, I didn't want to go too Christmassy with it. I didn't want to like force this building to be Christmassy. So it's kind of, it'll look more Christmassy once there's actual snow in here. But yeah, I like how this one turned out. I think it's visually interesting enough for the guests, but it's still like fairly simple. So I wonder if the reindeer are a walk-through habitat. I wonder if it'd be worth making them. No, I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it. I'll look into it once we get over to the real-time part, and maybe I'll think about making that one a walk-through habitat if they can. Because I'm just kind of imagining, I think reindeer do work quite a bit with people, but it's not something I thought about when I was building it. Anyway, so the last one here is the king penguin habitat, and this one I struggled quite a bit with the terrain for some reason. I couldn't really figure out. They didn't really want very many rocks, but they wanted a lot of sand, and I thought the sand looked very strange. But then whenever you add snow, it actually adds rocks. So when I tried to add snow, the rocks number went up, and they didn't like that. So we eventually got it. We eventually got it under control and get it to be perfect. But similar to what I did with the wolf habitat, I just wanted to add a little bit of visual interest here and another kind of layer. It doesn't go up very high, obviously. I don't think penguins can climb very well. I'm not even sure if they can climb this, to be honest. But I just wanted to add this little layer of rocks for them to climb up and have a little bit more space to enjoy. But I actually really liked how these snowy rocks looked over top of it. I don't know if they're meant to be snowy rocks or if they're meant to be snow like I used them, because they work so perfectly as just snow that got caught in the middle in between the rocks. I don't know, I think they just blend in so well there. Maybe that's what it's meant to be, and that would make sense. But same sort of thing. I added coolers here, so I put every habitat in this place to -5 degrees. I don't know if the animals like that or not. I don't really know actually where you see the animal temperature in the game in general, but we'll jump over to the real-time part now. Boy, oh boy, this zoo is starting to take a very long time to load in. So, you'll notice here, the only thing I did off camera after that time lapse was put the roofs on the buildings, because I figured, oh no, what is that? Why are my mandrills escaping? We'll look into that in a second. What I was gonna say. Yeah, the only thing I did off camera right after the time lapse was put the roofs on the buildings, because I think it keeps it cooler in there for the time that we are actually clicking play, just to kind of check everything out in here. Generally, we're not going to do much playing until we go in and detail the inside and outside anyway. There's obviously a lot of detailing work to do here. But yeah, I just threw on the roofs, and that's kind of what the general structure of the building is going to look like. It's not going to just be this wood. I'm going to do that soon. Or next episode, I suppose, is going to be kind of making the actual building look nice, and then doing everything inside as well. But first things first, on our animal, why are you what? First things first, on our animal excursion thing today, we need to figure out why our mandrills are escaping, even though we have a cement wall here. I pulled this out away from the building so that they would stop escaping, and apparently they're still escaping, and apparently our African lions are upset. Because one of our babies grew up. Put him in the trade center. So, anyway. Why are you low welfare? Okay, because he's in a box, that's fine. And these gharials are also getting very confused. So essentially what happens is, anytime you get too close to this glass, it thinks that they're inside there. If you look at this, their traversable area is inside of here. And then their welfare goes way down because they have no space and they have nobody else in there. And there's nothing in there for them. So yeah, overall, I would say that if I've learned anything from this zoo, it's that I do not recommend trying to get too fancy with glass habitat barriers and underwater animals. As much as that sucks because the underwater viewing is so cool, it just doesn't seem to work right. At least it doesn't in this zoo. Maybe, once, maybe, it's just this zoo has that bug and new zoos wouldn't have it. I don't really know, to be honest with you. But anyway, that was a little bit of a distraction. I wanted to take a look at this. So we have nobody over here yet, which is fine. Let's just move that trash can out of the way. Obviously a lot of detailing to do in here next episode, which I'm super excited for. And we need to open the station back up, actually. That's what we need to do. Open the whole thing back up. Okay. We just closed our gondola ride down. People aren't gonna like that. Okay, we're gonna need to do a big cat maintenance here soon too. Wow, look, we got so many black bears. That's cool. So, again, as an always disclaimer, I filmed these a couple of weeks in advance. So, or I actually think this one's only about a week in advance. This game, because it takes so much longer to film. But we just got the announcement today that by the time this episode comes out, we'll have gotten the 1.6 update or something. Either way, the diving bear update. So they're updating it so that the bears can do some better swimming and diving and stuff. So curious to see if they can do that in here. I didn't really design these rivers with, bears diving and swimming in mind, so I don't know if they're really deep enough. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun little update. Anyway, maybe we can, we can do something really fun with it in that future zoo that I was talking about, where, we're gonna have polar bears and all of that. Okay, who's dangerous fighting now? Gharials. Oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? Let's pause. My king penguin doesn't like the temperature range. Is that because of the water? Where do you see their temperature range? Am I going crazy? Terrain, it's not in here, but they like the deep water. They're happy with the deep water. But I don't see anything to do with temperature range. Right? I don't see anything to do with temperature range. Maybe it's in the Zoopedia, I suppose. Let's try that. Okay, natural habitat. Yeah, okay. -20 to 17. So I think the water's probably too warm, to be honest. I think we need a water temperature regulator for in here, which is fine. We actually haven't used one of those yet. So let's just put it over here by the, right next to this guy. And we'll eventually build a building around these two things. Add a little pathway to it so it can be maintained by our staff. And then I'm assuming we can, yeah, here we go. So right now it's at 20. Let's bring it down to 10. Seem to be right in the range. And then, actually, who is this affecting? Ooh, I don't want it to affect that. Okay, interesting. Let's move it over a bit. Let's just move it here. Maybe. And then it shouldn't be, this should be the only water that it's actually reaching. I think, yeah. I think that looks right. Okay, we are back. I did a little bit of animal management there just to get all those notifications off our backs. So this water should be cooling down. Yeah, it's cooling down now, so our penguins should get happier. Here, yeah, no more penguin notifications. Perfect. But look at them all. So I got, I think, 4 of each. I think I got 8 penguins. How is their, yeah, they've still got way more space than they need for the 8. So that means we should have plenty of space for the babies as well. But we can see them right through the glass here. Ideally, I guess the light's reflecting a little bit, but look at that, look at them swimming. So they should have plenty of room to dive and stuff here too, which is super fun. And it looks like it's cooling off in here too because the snow is coming back, so that's really good. We just have one cooler there, and yeah, it looks like they can climb up to here too. Let's double check and make sure they can kind of navigate everywhere they're supposed to. Yeah, perfect. So they can kind of wander up here as they please. They can wander down there, even though there's not really much down there. And swim, swim, swim. Perfect. Let's take a look at our reindeer next. So, yes, look at that. These ones are, ooh, those little fire torch things are kind of cool. I never saw them actually running. Maybe there's too many of them in here. It's a very, I don't know, visually heavy thing, but, oh, who's in a box? Why are you in a box? Unbox everybody, please. Oh boy, big zoos. I could play this game for hours just managing the animals. I don't even need to build anything. Okay, so we have 3 reindeer. We have 2 female, 1 male, which is I think how they prefer to live in that kind of a pack, but they've got their feeding right there, so the guests can, get a very good view of them. Basically, you can see them unless they're, hidden away in the shelter, but it's all one-way glass in here anyway. So that's really good. And then their shelter back here is boring. It's just meant for, a little sleeping area. But it looks like their habitat's perfect. Just, need that nutrition up once we can get the research done. And lastly, we have our Arctic wolf habitat, which looks like they can also traverse everywhere. I wasn't sure if they would be able to get up here, but it looks like they sure can. So that is excellent. Yeah, we have basically two Arctic wolves, one male, one female. I don't think we really need that many more. We could probably get a couple more female. I think I was just having a hard time finding them on the trade center. Let's double check. Yeah, it can be up to 8 males and 8 females actually. So maybe we'll keep some of their cubs. We'll just we'll give them contraceptives if needed. But yeah, this is what this one looks like. I was actually thinking maybe some of those snowy rocks, like throwing in some of the snowy rocks in here would look good. So I might do that off camera, and maybe even, I don't know, maybe cladding the walls with more rock, kind of similar to what we did here, but maybe not like fully. I'm not really sure. But yeah, this is their little habitat here. I think it looks pretty decent. We can maybe look into putting a few trees in there as well, but ooh, I wanted to see, does this actually make it through? It does. Perfect. Okay. I wasn't sure. I just wanted to keep the hole there. Hopefully it was going through, but it looks like it's going through just fine. So it looks like we don't have a ton of guest interest for actually checking out the animals in this area yet, but hopefully we will once, we only just, click play and have that ride going again. But this is how I set up the pathways. So essentially I connected from here now. I have to get rid of those staff-only signs, clean it up a little bit. But basically I wanted to do something similar to what I did in the Africa area, where you can basically completely avoid Flamingo Falls. If you so choose to, and walk around the outside instead, just because this area is still our most crowded area by far. So this area is also looking pretty crowded, but I just wanted to give that other option for going this way, and hopefully, where are you all going? Oh, is there something wrong? Okay. I need to assign all of these staff to this work zone. So I'm gonna do that quick. But yeah, it looks like we've got a few people coming around, but people are still more interested in riding the gondola. So maybe when we get more exits, people will come in and take a look at our penguins and stuff. But I mean, we're also lacking all the viewing areas and that kind of thing here, and all the vendors apparently quit, so it's a little tough. We need to get working on that a little bit, but that's all gonna be next episode while we do a part 2 to the aquatic or cold, what would I call this? Like a cold building? I don't know. Maybe you can let me know a good name for it down below. Something to do with a cold or snowy or Arctic building. It's not a dome. It's just kind of a boring building. But yeah, maybe let me know if you have any suggestions. But that is all that we have for today's episode. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying our new little cold area over there. I'm excited to see how it all kind of turns out, and I think it's really gonna just kind of wrap up the zoo to be a bit more complete, to feel a bit more like, we have everything that we wanted to do before wrapping it up. So I hope nobody's too sad about this zoo coming to an end in the next few episodes. I'm really excited for the next one, and I think this one has been a great learning experience for me, and making this series as well has been really fun, so I've been really enjoying it. But as always, let me know in the comment section below. Do you have any ideas for the next series? Do you have any, tips for me, anything in these videos that you think could be better quality? All that kind of stuff. I like to hear it. I like to receive some feedback. So let me know in the comment section below, and I will talk to you in the next episode.